Hey guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for viewing my videos. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for subscribing. If you haven't subscribed as yet, please click on that subscribe button so you can join the Leva Mukubela community and you don't miss out on any video that I release. In today's video, it's basically story time. It's basically story time. I'm basically going to be sharing the story of how my wife and I launched a business during lockdown in 2020, and we grew that business within 8 months to R1 million in revenue. It sounds amazing, but the journey was not that great. So I'm going to be sharing I'm sharing the journey and also the lessons that we learned. So stay tuned. Sharp. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching yet another video of mine. As mentioned, today we're going to be talking about how my wife and I launched a business during lockdown, the hard lockdown in 2020, and managed to grow that business to R1 million in revenue within 8 months. So, before I get into the story, whenever I do these videos, I try my very best to be as natural as possible. So I don't pre-plan what I'm going to say, nor have a script or whatsoever. So that when I speak to you guys, I speak from my heart, and make it as natural as possible. Although there's room for things like editing and things that to make things look more professional, but sometimes I feel that too much of that makes things feel disjointed, and so with my videos I try my very best to be as natural as possible so you can connect to the realness of my stories, and the advice that I give and the value that I share over these videos. So whenever you see me stopping to think, it's not that I'm unprepared, I am thinking, to some extent I'm prepared because I'm always prepared. But it's a story, it's my story, so I don't need to prepare my story, but it's just to share things that I feel that are important for me to share. Anyway, so in 2015 I launched my marketing agency. I had just quit from my directorship level job at a marketing agency, so I was hired as, or rather my role was strategic director of strategy at Perks Agency, and I started there in 2012. 2013 I was then promoted to director, and late 2014 I resigned. The main point of me resigning from that job was purely because when I actually joined that agency, I had just closed down my first business. So I started my first business in 2009, just after high school. So I matriculated in 2008. And in 2009, I started my first business. 2011, that business closed down because Lebahang just didn't have business acumen. So I made so many mistakes, especially financial mistakes, that the business could not recover from, right? So my joining that agency in 2012, I made a promise to myself that one, I'm there to learn as much as possible. So there is no job or task that's beneath me. My job is to go there and learn from a corporate perspective how to build a business, how to run a business, and also how each department comes together to work as one unit, right? That's the number one aim. Number two, I was only going to work there a maximum of 3 years. So 2014, I realized that, I'm getting comfortable, because, the job was paying well. The apartment I was living in 4 ways, I didn't pay rent. All I did was buy electricity, and buy groceries, the company even bought me a car before I bought my own. So I realized that I was getting too comfortable, and I was there for a reason, and my main thing is I didn't want to steer away from why I was there in the first place, you know. So when it's winter and it's so cold and you want to get out of the bed to prepare for a meeting or whatever, and as you take out your leg, that breeze just hits your foot, and you're like, yeah, no, I think I will be in this blankets for another 10 hours or something like that. So it's, that comfort. And if you become too comfortable, and you know that thing, someone wakes you up and you're like, okay, no, 5 more minutes, then 5 minutes is 2 hours later, and you are late for an appointment or whatever the case. So I was realizing that I was getting too comfortable. The job was my blanket. The nice salary was my blanket. The perks of the apartment and all these things. So 2014 I quit. 2015 I launched my agency, and my agency was predominantly working with shopping centers, and also shopping centers that are predominantly in townships and rural areas. Although we did have your big ticket shopping centers as clients, Midland Shopping Center, Southgate, Pavilion. We did work Maponya Mall. We did work with some of the bigger malls, but majority of our business was with township and rural areas, purely because of our township marketing understanding and our township economy understanding and expertise, right? And that business did very well. Our agency did very well. From 2018 was our best year. From the revenues, I made my first million through that business in 2017. So it took me 2 years of running that business to make the first million. 2018 we won awards. The business won awards. 2016 I won Young Entrepreneur of the Year at the Standard Bank Tshwane Business Awards. And so we did very well, guys. It was such an amazing experience. Did very well with this agency. 2019 as well, did very well. And then 2020 happened, and the president, on the 23rd of March, if I remember correctly, made an announcement that the country will be under lockdown from the 27th of March. And with this lockdown, shopping centers could not operate. The only stores that will be operating will be essential stores that sell essential goods. So your grocers, your pharmacies, those were the guys that were open. So I'm not too sure if you guys know how the shopping center environment works, but the marketing budget of shopping centers is as a result of tenants contributing. So tenants, as they pay their monthly rental, there's a contribution that goes into that marketing budget. So if tenants are not open, out of a mall that has 200 stores or 100 stores, for example, only 2 stores or 3 stores are working, who's paying for that marketing thing? So long story short, literally in one day, all our contracts, all our projects, all our revenues was cancelled. Literally in one day. Everything was taken away in one day. You know the story of Job in the Bible, where in one day he lost his wealth, lost his children, got sick in one day. It seems far-fetched when you read that story until you experience it. I experienced it, in one day. Literally, we lost everything. And I remember the last payment came in mid-April. That was the last payment. No more projects, no more contracts. And my wife and I were still living in Centurion at the time. Still living in Centurion, an apartment in Centurion. And it was the last week of May when I made payment of the rental for June. After paying the rental for June, buying groceries and everything, paying off the car, I think I was left with like 2,000 Rand. Mind you, I had to even retrench my employees because no one knew when this lockdown will be done. And even with knowing when the lockdown will be done, what does the new reality look like, And so because there was so much uncertainty and everything, I could not keep my employees. It just basically didn't make sense. I couldn't afford it. So the month of April was essentially that, where I was just going through retrenchments, and when you retrench people, you pay them their salary for that month, you pay them severance pay. At the same time, if they still have outstanding leave, you still pay them for that. So already, already you're in the minus, already there's no more revenue going to come into the business. And then you're paying all this monies, but it is what it is, and it needed to be done. So I paid the rental for June at the end of May, bought groceries, paid for the car, and I remember sitting while my wife was sleeping. I remember sitting asking myself that, what is the next plan, Baba? Planning. Where to from here? Where to from here? And I'm not gonna act like I'm a superhero or something. It hit me hard. It hit me hard. I think I was down for an entire week. Slept throughout the whole week. Didn't feel like doing anything. Didn't feel like talking to anyone. But it was at the end of that week where I realized that, how I'm feeling is valid, but at the same time, I have a family to take care of. I have a wife. I have a daughter. And my daughter was what? Yeah, was a year old. My daughter was a year old at that time. So she was still very young. So we had a daughter to take care of, and I had to take care of my wife as well. So feeling bad for myself and sulking will not help. Need to fold up our sleeves and see what we can do. So it was in that process that I started then going back onto social media and everything, trying to see the conversations, what people are saying about this whole COVID thing. Because in my mind, I had 3 questions to answer. The first question is a 2-in-1. It's 2 questions in one, but essentially it's one question. The first thing is, what are the changes that are happening now? And what are the opportunities being presented by these changes? That was the first question. The second question was, what skills and resources do I have at my disposal at the very moment? And then thirdly is that, how can I then combine the skills and the resources I have at my disposal with the opportunities that are rising through the changes? How can I combine that to come up with a new business? But a business also that must tick certain boxes. It must make money now. It must make money now, because at the end of June, I still needed to pay rent. I still need to pay rent for July. I still need to buy groceries and all these things. So it needed to be a business that makes money now, not something that must take time and things like that. So obviously on social media, I started realizing that, okay, e-commerce was shooting up because now people were home, didn't want to go to shopping centers, were not even allowed to go to shopping centers. And a lot of the businesses that were operating in shopping centers and now they can't operate started selling online, and you started seeing an emergence of smaller brands and smaller businesses. Started seeing the market now understanding the importance of supporting local brands, and there was this whole big drive of supporting local, and also the emergence of brands like Drip, where we started seeing, oh, okay, there's a whole sneaker revolution happening and things like that. So we looked at that, and then we also looked at, okay, what are the skills that I have? I'm a marketer. I have digital marketing skills. I have brand building skills. I have strategy skills. I know how to put together a business model. And then also the relationships that we had, we had relationships with the Chinese on another business that we used to have. We had a relationship with the Chinese that will allow us to source whatever products we thought would open up the market for us. And it was in a meeting that I had. It was not really a meeting. I had gone to buy 2 pairs of the drip shoes, and it was just a conversation I was having with Lekao that he said something that sparked my interest. And then that evening, I literally, after having supper with my wife and my daughter, I went into, so we were staying in a 2-bedroom apartment. I had converted one of the rooms into an office. So I went into that office, locked myself in there, and I started writing down. So I realized, okay, the e-commerce is opening up, so needed to do a Shopify website. Luckily for me, I know how to design and things like that. So I started working on a brand name. Sat down with my wife. These are the brand names that I'm coming up with. We ended up choosing Kava. Did a design for a logo. Chose the brand colors. Did a design for the website. Then spoke to the Chinese. And then I realized, okay, we are not going to be creating. One of the things that my wife and I were very clear about is we are not building another sneaker brand. We are building the next sports scene, because basically what does sports scene do? They buy sneakers from other brands to resell in their own retail stores, right? So we thought, okay, let's find sneakers you don't find in any shop through the Chinese. So find independent designers, the Chinese designers, find sneakers that are unorthodox in design. They're not designs that you see all the time, and they are non-branded sneakers. And then so we went to the Chinese. They gave us a catalog. I think that catalog had over 500 different designs, and we chose 20 of the ones that stood out to us. We chose 20, and we took advantage of the fact that, the market was willing to wait longer for deliveries, purely because they understood lockdown stuff. So we took advantage of that so that we don't over-invest, right, in the business. We don't over-invest. Mind you, I told you I only had 2,000 Rand left. So this 2,000, I needed to build a website. I could build the website myself, but the trial period is only 2 weeks. So at some point, I must still pay for using Shopify. Number 2, I needed to register a domain. So www.kavasneakers.co.za. I needed to register that. What else? We needed to do packaging as well. We needed to run adverts. Packaging was not really a problem, but we needed to run adverts so that we can reach a large number of people at one point, or at one time. So I needed not to spend a lot of money and only spend on necessities. So we got the catalog, got the pictures, uploaded these pictures on our website, did our pricing, and we did created a Facebook page, an Instagram page. Then we created an advert, and we launched the store in mid-June. I think it was mid-June. Our first sale came through on the 19th of June, if I remember correctly. Just can't remember the gentleman's name, but one of the things my wife and I were saying is that man opened up the door to so many sales coming in, that we wanted to do something special for him sometime this year. So that man bought our first brought in the first sale. He's actually the only one who's ever bought that specific sneaker, because remember, we launched with a catalog of 20. And then majority of the people loved the Leo sneaker, the Pharaoh sneaker, and the Zeus sneaker. So those 3 were ultimately the top 3 that sold. And by the end of July, we had just crossed over 100,000 in revenue. And about 8 months later, we had done about 1 million Rand. So that's how the brand Kava grew, and that's how the brand Kava was launched, and how it grew to where it is. We made quite a large number of mistakes. Which led to some orders being delayed, some orders not being delivered, and people calling us scams. And yeah, it was a mess. We made quite a large number of mistakes there. And so we had to, I think, the whole of 2022, last year, we only opened up sales towards the end of the year, because we were just trying to fix all the issues, right? Even this year, we were supposed to open our first store. We had to put everything aside, but that's not the point. The point is, the greatest lesson that even myself I take from that whole experience, which goes back to the other video that I loaded a few days ago on opportunity in crisis, is that we were able to, sometimes when things seem like they are falling apart, and they may be falling apart, and there's nothing wrong with feeling down and out, but it's also in that process, it matters. It matters how you react in those situations. It really matters, because you can sit and sulk and miss the opportunity. Um, drip drip launched probably 3-4 months before we launched Cover, and Drip, look where Drip is today. um Probably if we had not made the mistakes that we made in the business, Cover would have been far beyond where it is today. And I think also one of the mistakes we made was, so I'm not just going to talk about successes, right? I'm going to also highlight the mistakes we've made. But one of the biggest mistakes we made is that when we launched Cover, for us, it was purely a business to survive during lockdown. Like I said, there was no income because the other marketing agency, it's only last year that the marketing agency now rebuild we were able to rebuild the marketing agency, get new clients in. It's only last year September. So since 2020, the marketing agency has been dormant. Although I think 2021 we did get a project here, and 2 projects that were good projects, but in terms of building the agency from a recurring revenue perspective, signing contracts and things like that, it's only last year that we were able to relaunch the agency and recover properly. Well, we have not recovered as yet, but in the process of recovering. So the mistake we made with Cover is we purely launched it as a means to an end. We launched it as a way to just make extra income so that we can survive. The problem with that then is, when the business started growing faster, instead of our mindsets adjusting to the fact that, hey, this is not a side hustle, this is actually a growing business, and now to take the money and reinvest back into the business, reinvest in the right things, our mindset never changed. And so there are areas where we did not put investment. There are areas where we put investment and they were wrong. We lost quite a lot of money. Number one, through we lost a lot of money through we made our own custom made flip-flops, spent a considerable amount of money on those flip-flops, and even today we still have like 2 or 3 pairs left. That was what, 2021. And so that was one of the mistakes. We invested in the wrong things instead of focusing on the Leo, which is our top seller, focusing on that, adding new colors, adding other sizes and things like that. So only in hindsight that we're able to see. But the lessons in which we draw from this experience, apart from that, is apart from the mindset perspective, is also, there's a silver lining in every situation. If you're able to see the opportunity, if you're able to be intentional in looking for the opportunity, the 3 questions I ask myself, I think, can work also for you. First question is, what are the changes that are happening in the environment, and what opportunities are coming through these changes, and what are the skills and the resources that I have, and the relationships that I have, that I can take advantage, that I can combine my resources, relationships, and and my resources, my skills, and my relationships with the opportunities that are rising through the changes in the market, and how can I combine these things to come up with a new business model, right? And that's the biggest lesson that we learned. So it was a great run. Do I think the cover brand is dead? Not really. We now know what we need to do to take it to the next level. But it's almost like the story of Galax Boy. You know, when Galax Boy went quiet, I think from 2018, if I remember correctly, he went quiet. And then last year came back with a bang. And now Galax Boy is one of the biggest brands in the country at the moment. And I think that's what's going to happen with us with Java, that we are just gonna take a chill pill. We are literally selling the last stock that we have, and we know what the next step is. We just need the right we just need the right investment, you know. And so I don't want to raise money. I don't want to go the loan route and everything. So it's money that we need to save for and take it to the next level. And so if all works out, by the end of next year, or by the end of next year, or probably even this year, you know, we will re-emerge with this brand. So it's not completely dead, but we take lessons from it. So in me sharing this story with you, it's not, don't just get inspired with the fact that we built a $1 million business in 8 months during lockdown. That's great, and it is inspirational. But also take lessons from the experience, that you don't make the same mistake. So now there's a re-emergence of COVID-19. Maybe more opportunities are gonna come. We live in a country now where load shedding is such a big issue. There's a huge energy crisis. What are the opportunities that are coming up in this energy crisis? What are the skills? How can you combine the opportunities with your skills, resources, and relationships, and take advantage and launch a business that will do phenomenally well? The demand is there. The demand is there, you know. But even as you launch this business and you see rapid growth in that business, learn from people like Lekau, learn from people like Temba or Vaya, you know, and reinvest back in your business so that you can give it enough room and enough time to grow, you know. In the next few weeks, I'm going to be uploading a video talking about the power of patience in business and the power of aligning your efforts. And it talks to exactly that sometimes your business, just especially a young business, doesn't matter how well it's doing, it needs you to reinvest so that it can dig its root deeper into the earth, so that as it grows, it has a strong foundation, right? So I hope this information was beneficial for you. You can share, if you want me to record videos or to share knowledge around certain other areas, if I have that knowledge, I would gladly create those videos. So comment in the comment section there. Tell me what you want me to talk about next, what information you're looking for, how you need me to help you within your businesses and everything, and I will create those videos just for you. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you.